Diplomacy's end. The void between stars had never felt so cold. Captain Alina Reyes stood on the bridge of the EDS Prometheus, Earth's most advanced diplomatic vessel, watching as the massive alien ships approached. The Prometheus represented humanity's crowning achievement, a fusion-powered interstellar vessel capable of reaching nearby star systems in months rather than centuries. It was humanity's pride, their declaration to the cosmos that they had arrived. And now, 6 alien warships surrounded them, each dwarfing the Prometheus like whales circling a minnow. "They're hailing us again, Captain," Lieutenant Ibarra said, his fingers hovering over the communications panel. "Same frequency." Elena nodded, straightening her uniform. On screen. The view screen flickered, and an alien appeared. The being had 4 eyes arranged horizontally across his broad face, skin that resembled polished obsidian, and tentacle-like appendages where a human would have arms. According to the translator program, it called itself Archon Kelphos of the Galactic Conclave. "Human vessel," the alien spoke, its translated voice eerily smooth. "Our patience wanes. You will accept escort to Conclave Prime for formal evaluation." This is not a request. Elena kept her expression neutral despite the knot forming in her stomach. First contact had gone nothing like humanity had hoped. Instead of finding allies or trading partners, they had discovered a vast interstellar government, the Galactic Conclave, that viewed emerging species with suspicion. "Archon Kelphos, as I've explained, we cannot commit Earth to such proceedings without proper consultation with our government. We request permission to return to our homeworld to discuss your invitation." The alien's upper eyes narrowed. "Your evasiveness confirms our concerns. Scans of your vessel reveal technological advancement inconsistent with your species' development timeline. The Conclave has monitored your kind for centuries. You have progressed from primitive combustion engines to fusion drives in less than a single Conclave generation. Such rapid advancement is classified as a potential destabilizing force." "Advancement isn't a crime, Archon," Elena countered. "Humans are naturally curious and innovative." "Precisely the danger," Kelphos interrupted. "The Conclave has encountered species like yours before. They either submit to guidance or become threats. There is no third outcome." Elena glanced at her executive officer, Commander Jackson Wei, who gave her a subtle nod. They had suspected this was coming. "We'll need time to consider your position," Elena said carefully. "You have 1 planetary rotation," the Archon replied before terminating the connection. As soon as the screen went dark, Elena turned to her crew. "Status report." "Their weapons systems remain dormant but primed," Lieutenant Commander Seto reported from Tactical. "Sensors detect energy signatures consistent with quantum barrier technology, at least a century beyond our capabilities." "They could vaporize us without breaking a sweat," Wei muttered. Elena moved to the central command console. "They won't. Not yet. We're too valuable as informants." "Wei, Sato with me." In the privacy of the captain's ready room, Elena activated the quantum encryption protocol, a security measure designed specifically for this mission. "Send the Phoenix protocol signal to Earth," she ordered, encoded in the regular telemetry burst. "If we don't return in 48 hours, Earth needs to know what we're facing." Wei frowned. "That's assuming they let us return at all." "Oh, they will," Elena said with grim certainty, "because we're going to give them exactly what they want. A compliant, frightened species ready to join their conclave as obedient children." "A deception?" Sato asked. Elena's expression hardened. "A necessary one. Earth needs time. We can't fight this conclave. Not yet. But we can prepare." 6 months later, in an underground facility beneath the Mariana Trench, Admiral Hiroshi Yamamoto surveyed the assembly before him. Representatives from every major nation on Earth had gathered in this most secure of locations, away from potential alien surveillance. The Prometheus returned as Captain Rice promised. Yamamoto began, his voice echoing in the cavernous chamber. Her crew played their parts perfectly. Humble, awed by the conclave's power, grateful for their guidance. But the intelligence they gathered confirms our worst fears. He activated the holographic display, showing the alien vessels and installations they now knew existed throughout the solar system's edge. The Galactic Conclave comprises 17 advanced species. They monitor developing civilizations and intervene when a species advances too quickly. Some are incorporated as protectorates, their development carefully controlled. Others, deemed too aggressive or unpredictable, are, he paused, contained. Eliminated, you mean? The Chinese premier said bluntly. Yamamoto nodded. They've established monitoring stations beyond Neptune. Our solar system is effectively under quarantine, though they're calling it protective observation. The UN Secretary-General leaned forward. And our options. Dr. Eliza Chen, Earth's leading xenoanthropologist, stood. According to Captain Ray's intelligence, the conclave operates on consensus and caution. They move slowly, deliberate extensively. This gives us time, perhaps a decade before they decide our final status. What about negotiation? The EU president asked. Surely there's a diplomatic solution. The conclave doesn't negotiate with developing species, Chen replied. Their society is hierarchical, with rigid protocols for advancement. New species spend centuries proving themselves before gaining voting rights. Centuries we don't have, the Russian president muttered. Humanity will not accept alien overlords dictating our future. Yamamoto nodded to his aide, who distributed secure tablets to each representative. Operation Cerberus, a three-pronged strategy developed by our combined think tanks, while Captain Rice and a small diplomatic corps maintain the illusion of compliance. We prepare. The assembled leaders scrolled through the documents, their expressions growing increasingly somber. This is extensive, the American president said. And expensive. And necessary, Yamamoto countered. We dismantle the national militaries as the conclave demands, publicly. Meanwhile, we build a unified Earth Defense Force in secret. We accept their educational advisors, while hiding our most brilliant minds. We submit to technology restrictions while developing countermeasures underground. Literally. He gestured to the vast facility around them. This is just the first of many. The oceans, the moon's far side, asteroids, places the conclave won't monitor closely because they don't think we can reach them yet. We're talking about deceiving an interstellar civilization, the Indian Prime Minister noted, one with technology centuries beyond ours. Yes, Yamamoto agreed. But humans have one advantage the conclave doesn't understand. We've spent our history outwitting stronger opponents. From the first human who killed a mammoth with nothing but sharpened sticks to modern guerrilla warfare, we know how to be the underdog. Dr. Chen spoke up again. The conclave's weakness is their arrogance. They categorize species based on rigid metrics and expect predictable behavior. Captain Rice reports they've already classified humans as adaptable but non-confrontational. They believe we'll choose assimilation over extinction. They've never met humans before, the Brazilian president said with a grim smile. The vote was unanimous. Operation Cerberus would begin immediately. 5 years passed under the watchful eyes of the conclave. Earth appeared to flourish under their guidance, dismantling weapons, accepting technological restrictions, sending young diplomats to learn at the feet of their cosmic betters. The conclave was pleased with humanity's progress. They never saw what was happening beneath the surface. Deep under the lunar regolith, Major Diana Rodriguez walked through the cavernous hangar of Artemis Base, the pride of Earth's secret military. Around her, engineers and scientists worked on vessels unlike anything publicly acknowledged. Her destination was Hangar E7, where the prototype waited. Major Rodriguez, Dr. Quaim Osei greeted her, his face illuminated by the blue glow of holographic schematics. Right on time. The Council is anxious for progress, Diana replied. The conclave's patience won't last forever. Their last inspection nearly discovered the Singapore facility. Quaim nodded, leading her toward the sleek craft dominating the hangar. Unlike the bulky, utilitarian designs the Conclave permitted, this vessel was predatory, elegant. The EDS Nemesis, Quaim announced proudly. First of the Ghost Fleet, reverse-engineered Conclave stealth technology combined with our own innovations. Diana walked around the vessel, admiring its lines. It's smaller than I expected. By design. Traditional warship doctrine is useless against Conclave vessels. They detect and destroy anything following conventional tactics. The Nemesis isn't designed to win a fair fight. Because there are no fair fights against the Conclave, Diana finished. It was the mantra of the Earth Defense Force. Exactly. What we lack in raw power, we compensate for in creativity. Quaim activated a console, and the ship's hull seemed to shimmer before blending almost perfectly with the background. Adaptive metamaterial coding. It doesn't just block sensors, it learns and mimics the surroundings. Diana allowed herself a small smile. And weapons. That's where Dr. Nakamura's team excelled. The Conclave relies on quantum barriers, essentially perfect defenses against energy weapons, so we didn't build energy weapons. He led her to a display showing projectiles that looked deceptively simple. Kinetic penetrators with gravity disruption tips. The Conclave hasn't used physical projectile defenses in millennia. They consider them obsolete. How many vessels can we field? Diana asked. 50 Nemesis-class ships within 6 months. The asteroid belt factories are operating at full capacity, completely hidden from Conclave observation. Diana nodded, satisfaction mixing with apprehension. 5 years of preparation, of living under the Conclave's thumb while secretly preparing for war. And the trigger technology. Quaim's expression grew serious. The quantum communication disruptors are ready. Once activated, they'll sever the Conclave's communications network for approximately 6 hours. It's our only window. 6 hours to change the course of human history, Diana murmured. As she stared at the Nemesis, Diana thought about what they were planning. Not just resistance, but a preemptive strike against the most powerful civilization known to exist. The odds were astronomical. Failure meant extinction. But the alternative, generations of humanity living as cosmic serfs, their potential forever leashed, was unthinkable. Begin final preparations, she ordered. The Council has set the date. In 3 months, Operation Cerberus launches. The die was cast. Humanity would not go quietly into subjugation. The Conclave was about to learn why humans should never be underestimated. Humanity unchained. The day of reckoning arrived with the silent precision of a surgeon's blade. At precisely 300 hours Earth Standard Time, 50 black ships emerged from hidden lunar bases, their hulls absorbing light rather than reflecting it. No engines flared. Instead, gravity manipulators pulled them through space without betraying their presence. The Ghost Fleet, humanity's last, best hope, had launched. Admiral Victor Chen stood on the bridge of the EDS Nemesis, watching as Earth receded behind them. For 5 years, he had trained for this moment, rehearsing countless scenarios against an enemy with overwhelming superiority. Conventional wisdom said this mission was suicide. Conventional wisdom didn't understand humanity's determination. All vessels report ready, Admiral. Lieutenant Commander Sofia Volkov announced from Tactical. Quantum synchronization complete. Victor nodded. Begin Operation Cerberus. Phase 1. Across the solar system, the Conclave maintained 37 monitoring stations, automated outposts gathering intelligence on humanity's activities. Each station connected to a central hub on Europa, which in turn transmitted to the nearest Conclave relay beyond Pluto. The entire network relied on quantum entanglement communications, instantaneous, supposedly unhackable. Supposedly. Quantum disruptors activated, Sophia confirmed as signals from the fleet triggered dormant devices planted near each monitoring station over the past year. Communications blackout achieved. Victor allowed himself a tight smile. Launch strike teams. Execute with precision. The Ghost Fleet separated, each vessel approaching its designated target. They weren't using conventional weapons. Those would have been detected during construction. Instead, they deployed a uniquely human solution: people. Strike teams in advanced EVA suits emerged from the ships, propelled by nearly invisible microthrusters. Each team carried specialized equipment developed in secret: electromagnetic pulse generators disguised as standard maintenance tools, computer viruses hidden in approved conclave educational software, and most importantly, human ingenuity. On Europa, Major Diana Rodriguez led the most critical mission. The central hub controlling all conclave operations in the solar system was their primary target. While other teams disabled monitoring stations, Diana's squad would seize control of the hub itself. Approaching target, her pilot whispered over the comm, "No indication they've detected us." Diana checked her equipment one last time. "Remember, we need control of the system intact. Minimal force against personnel." The Nemesis extended stealth docking tubes to Europa's surface, half a kilometer from the hub. Close enough for a quick approach, far enough to avoid detection. Diana's team of 12 moved swiftly across the icy surface, their suits' adaptive camouflage blending with the terrain. Perimeter defenses identified. Lieutenant Park reported, scanning with instruments disguised as approved geological survey equipment. 3 automated sentry units, standard conclave pattern. Diana nodded. Deploy countermeasures. 3 specialists moved forward, activating devices that mimicked routine maintenance signals. The sentries, programmed to expect regular human technicians under conclave supervision, accepted the authorization codes without alarm. "We've got 4 minutes before the system requests confirmation," Park warned. "More than enough time," Diana replied, leading her team to the airlock. Inside, 4 conclave administrators, 2 Rigelians and 2 Taotians, monitored Earth's activities with the casual disinterest of zookeepers watching docile animals. Their shock when Diana's team entered was almost comical. "What is the meaning?" One began before a targeted electromagnetic pulse rendered them unconscious. "Secure the room," Diana ordered as her team moved with practiced efficiency. "Dr. Patel, you have 3 minutes to upload the Phantom Network." Dr. Anya Patel, Earth's foremost expert on conclave systems, connected to the main console, beginning upload. Their security is exactly as our intelligence reported. While the operation on Europa proceeded, similar scenes played out across the solar system. Conclave monitoring stations fell silent one by one, their operators neutralized without casualties, their systems compromised. Back on the Nemesis, Admiral Chen watched as confirmation signals arrived from each team. Status report: 34 stations secured. Sophia reported. 3 remaining. Confirmation from Titan Outpost. Neptune Station. Final confirmation from Pluto Relay. All conclave monitoring systems under our control. A ripple of tension-breaking applause spread through the bridge before Victor raised his hand for silence. "Phase 1 complete," he announced. "Prepare for Phase 2. We have approximately 5 hours before the Conclave realizes their network has been compromised." On Conclave Prime, 27 light-years from Earth, Archon Keltvos addressed the Grand Assembly. Representatives from 17 species filled the vast chamber, their attention focused on the holographic display of Sol's system. The integration of species designate human progresses satisfactorily, Keltvos reported. Their compliance exceeds predictive models. While their adaptability remains a concern, their social cohesion under guidance demonstrates promising vassalage potential. Supreme Archon Zuri Tel, the eldest of the founding 4 species, raised a gnarled appendage. Yet reports indicate continued technological research in restricted areas. Minor infractions, Keltvos dismissed. Their educational adjustments are proceeding on schedule. Within 3 generations, their natural tendencies toward rapid advancement will be properly channeled into conclave-approved development paths. The discussion continued, dissecting humanity's potential as though examining bacteria under a microscope. None noticed the subtle irregularities in the data feeding their displays, irregularities that would have shown unauthorized activity throughout the Sol system. Europa hub secured. Diana reported over the quantum encrypted channel. Phantom network operational. The Conclave is seeing exactly what we want them to see. On the Nemesis, Admiral Chen nodded in satisfaction. Excellent work, Major. Begin Phase 2. Phase 2 was arguably the most audacious aspect of Operation Cerberus. While the Conclave believed their monitoring network was functioning normally, the Earth Defense Force would deploy the technologies they had developed in secret. Beyond Neptune, the massive construction ship EDS Vulcan emerged from its hiding place in the Kuiper Belt. For 5 years, it had been assembling components smuggled past Conclave inspections. Now it moved into position, unfurling massive arrays of equipment that the Conclave had explicitly forbidden. Quantum entanglement communicators, advanced sensor platforms, and most importantly, the prototype defensive grid. Vulcan reports deployment commencing. Sophia informed Chen. Estimated completion in 4 hours. The defensive grid represented humanity's greatest gamble. Based on fragments of Conclave technology combined with human innovation, it was designed to create a shield around the entire solar system, not to keep enemies out, but to prevent the Conclave from bringing overwhelming force to bear all at once. Simultaneously, from bases hidden in the asteroid belt, a swarm of automated constructors emerged, heading toward predefined coordinates. These would become the foundation of humanity's true defense network, not the centralized system the Conclave might expect, but a distributed, redundant web inspired by Earth's own internet. If the Conclave destroyed one node, 10 others would take over its functions. Admiral, Sophia called suddenly. We're detecting quantum fluctuations near the Pluto relay. Possible Conclave vessel approaching. Chen frowned. This wasn't in the timeline. The Conclave wasn't scheduled to perform physical inspections for another 2 weeks. Identification. Signature matches a Conclave courier vessel. Small crew, minimal armaments. Chen considered his options. Maintain stealth protocols. Track the vessel but take no action unless it threatens our operations. The unexpected visitor added urgency to an already tense situation. If the Conclave discovered their monitoring network had been compromised before the defensive grid was operational, humanity's one chance at independence would vanish. Alert all teams, Chen ordered. Accelerate timetable. We may have less time than anticipated. On Europa, Diana received the alert with grim determination. Dr. Patel, status. Phantom network at 87% coverage. Anya replied, fingers dancing across alien interfaces. I need another 40 minutes for full implementation. You have 20, Diana stated flatly, checking the tactical display showing the Conclave courier's approach. Lieutenant Park, prepare contingency measures. Park nodded, moving to a secured case they had brought. Inside lay humanity's last resort, a targeted virus designed to completely disable Conclave systems. Using it would alert the Conclave immediately, but if discovery was imminent anyway, they needed options. Diana activated her comm. Admiral Chen, request permission to implement Ragnarok Protocol if the courier approaches Europa. There was a brief pause before Chen's voice returned. Permission granted, Major, but only as a last resort. We need those 40 minutes. The tension in the hub was palpable as they watched the courier's trajectory. It passed Neptune's orbit, then changed course, heading directly for Europa. They're coming here, Park announced unnecessarily. Diana made her decision. Dr. Patel, compress the implementation. Lieutenant Park, prepare Ragnarok. Everyone else, defensive positions. If we can't hide, we fight. On the Nemesis, Admiral Chen faced a critical decision. The defensive grid was only partially deployed. If the Conclave courier discovered the operation and managed to send a warning, the entire Sol system would face immediate retaliation from the nearest Conclave battle fleet. Admiral, Sophia reported, the courier is 20 minutes from Europa. They're transmitting standard approach protocols to the hub. Chen's mind raced through scenarios, calculating odds against an enemy whose full capabilities remained unknown. The original plan called for avoiding direct confrontation, until the defensive grid was operational, but plans rarely survived contact with the enemy. Lieutenant Commander Volkov, bring us on an intercept course with the courier. Maintain stealth protocols until we're within weapons range. Sophia's eyes widened slightly, but she nodded. Aye, sir. Plotting intercept. The Nemesis accelerated silently, its gravity drives leaving no exhaust trail, its hull absorbing even the faint light of the distant sun. This would be humanity's first direct engagement with conclave military technology, a test of theories developed in secret against an enemy that believed humans incapable of meaningful resistance. All hands, combat stations, Chen ordered as they closed on the unsuspecting courier. Prepare kinetic penetrators. Target their propulsion and communication systems only. The ship hummed with controlled tension as weapons systems activated. The kinetic penetrators, simple in concept but revolutionary in execution, were loaded into launch tubes. No energy signatures to detect, no radiation to trace, just precisely machined projectiles accelerated to tremendous speeds, their gravity disruption tips designed to bypass the quantum barriers the Conclave relied upon. Range in 30 seconds, Sophia reported. No indication they've detected us. Chen nodded. Fire on my mark. He took a deep breath, knowing that this moment would change humanity's future irrevocably. There would be no turning back, no possibility of convincing the Conclave this was all a misunderstanding. Mark. The Nemesis shuddered slightly as the penetrators launched. At their velocity, the journey to the target took less than a second. On the view screen, the courier vessel suddenly lurched as impacts tore through its propulsion system. Emergency lights activated along its hull before secondary impacts severed its communications array. Direct hits, Sophia confirmed. Target's propulsion and communications disabled. Their defensive barriers didn't activate. They never detected the attack. Chen nodded grimly. Deploy boarding team. Secure the vessel and crew. I want prisoners, not casualties. As the boarding operation proceeded, Chen opened a channel to Europa. Major Rodriguez, courier vessel neutralized. Continue with grid deployment. Diana's relief was evident even over the comm. Understood, Admiral. Grid deployment continuing. Phantom network implementation accelerating. For the first time since the operation began, Chen allowed himself to believe they might succeed. The Conclave had underestimated humanity's resolve, their creativity, their willingness to risk everything for freedom. That mistake would cost them their hold on Sol's system. 3 hours later, Chen stood in the Nemesis conference room, facing the captured Conclave courier captain, a Regilian named Trevnar. The alien's 4 eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of distress in its species. You cannot comprehend what you have done, Trevnar said, its translator converting alien sounds into flat English. The Conclave will not permit this rebellion. Chen smiled thinly. It's not a rebellion, Captain. It's a declaration of independence. There's a difference. Semantics, the alien dismissed. When our signal fails to reach Conclave Prime, they will send investigators. When those investigators fail to return, they will send a battle fleet. Your species will be classified as hostile and dealt with accordingly. Perhaps, Chen acknowledged, but not today. He activated the room's display, showing the fully deployed defensive grid surrounding the solar system. Hundreds of interconnected nodes formed a complex network that even the Nemesis sensors struggled to fully map. This is Cerberus, Chen explained, named after a mythological guardian that prevented souls from escaping the underworld. In our case, it prevents your battle fleets from entering our system all at once. Any ship attempting to bypass the grid will find itself redirected. Trevnar's eyes narrowed. Impossible. Such technology is beyond your species' capability. We had good teachers, Chen replied. Your educational protocols, your technological restrictions, they told us exactly what you feared we might develop. So naturally, that's where we focused our efforts. The alien seemed to deflate slightly. You cannot hope to stand against the combined might of 17 advanced civilizations. We don't have to defeat 17 civilizations, Chen countered. We just have to make subjugating us too costly to be worth the effort. Humanity is very good at being problematic. A chime sounded, and Sophia's voice came through the intercom. Admiral, grid deployment complete. All systems operational. Major Rodriguez reports Europa hub security protocols have been reconfigured. We now have total control of Sol Systems' defensive perimeter. Chen nodded. Thank you, Commander. He turned back to the Regulian. Now, Captain Trevnar, we need to discuss terms. The Conclave does not negotiate with developing species, Trevnar stated automatically. Then the Conclave will need to evolve, Chen replied. Because humanity is no longer accepting guidance, we're offering an alliance of equals or nothing at all. 1 month later, the Earth Security Council gathered in the underwater facility where Operation Cerberus had first been conceived. Admiral Chen delivered his report standing before the world's leaders, his uniform bearing new insignia, the combined symbol of Earth's unified defense force. The defensive grid remains operational, he concluded. Our Phantom network continues to feed the Conclave selective information, though we must assume they now suspect irregularities. Captain Trevnar and his crew have been treated according to diplomatic protocols and are prepared for exchange when negotiations begin. And the Conclave's response? The UN Secretary-General asked. Chen activated a holographic display showing the space beyond Pluto's orbit. 3 Conclave vessels have approached the defensive grid. They've conducted scans but made no attempt to penetrate. Our analysis suggests they're gathering intelligence rather than preparing an immediate assault. So we've bought time, the Russian president noted, but not peace. Peace was never the immediate objective, Chen reminded them. Independence was. The Conclave now understands that humanity cannot be easily subdued. That changes the calculation. Dr. Chen stepped forward. Our analysis of the captured vessel's database suggests the Conclave's unity is more fragile than they projected. Several member species have experienced similar guidance in their history and may be sympathetic to our position. You're suggesting we exploit divisions within the Conclave? The Chinese premier asked. I'm suggesting diplomacy from a position of strength, Dr. Chen clarified. The Conclave respects power. We've demonstrated ours. Now we can negotiate as equals. Admiral Chen nodded in agreement. Humanity has changed the rules of the game. The Conclave believed they were welcoming another obedient species into their hierarchy. Instead, they've awakened something they don't fully understand. A species that refuses to be controlled, that values freedom above safety, that will risk extinction rather than surrender its potential. He looked around at the assembled leaders, his expression resolute. The road ahead won't be easy. The Conclave may still attempt military action, but for the first time in our history, humanity is truly unified. We face the stars not as separate nations, but as a single species, determined to forge our own destiny. The Secretary-General rose, addressing the room. Admiral Chen, you and all those who participated in Operation Cerberus have done humanity a great service. Whatever comes next, we face it together, on our terms. As the meeting concluded, Chen found himself standing before the great viewport, looking out at the deep ocean beyond. Somewhere above, beyond the water and atmosphere, humanity's defenses stood vigilant against the vastness of space. The Conclave had sought to contain humanity's potential, to channel it into safe, predictable paths. They never understood what made humans different from other species they had encountered. It wasn't technology or biology that made humans dangerous. It was their refusal to accept limitations, their willingness to risk everything for freedom, their stubborn belief that they deserved a place among the stars, not as servants, but as equals. The Galactic Conclave had made a fundamental error. They had calculated the threat of humanity based on weapons and ships, on technology and resources. They never accounted for the most unpredictable force in the universe, the human spirit. As Chen turned away from the viewport, he allowed himself a small smile. The conclave would adapt or it would falter, but either way, humanity would never be chained again. The stars awaited, and humanity was reaching for them with open hands, and, if necessary, closed fists. The universe would never be the same.